Let me see.
You
I'm
look
gonna
so
open it.
beautiful.
I'll take it. I'll take
I
it.
love all white.
Yeah, that's me these days.
Mm-hmm.
Every day for a year.
Where are you?
I was gonna say New York. Isn't that weird? I'm in LA. I don't know what that's
You
about.
you wish you were in New York?
I don't know. That's so weird. I don't know. I'm from New York, but
Are you manifesting?
I think I might be. I didn't. That was very unconscious, subconscious rather, not
So
unconscious,
I
subconscious.
Monet and I met um through work.
Yeah.
She came in and landed this role in my play in the upper room at the world premiere at the Denver Center, and that whole crew or whole class
Oh my
just
God. Oh
became
my
like
God.
we just became family
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I was the best time of my life. Really, as an actor.
it really was. It was beautiful. And it was it's when you get on a show, you always find camaraderie, you always find the friends, but it's really rare, I think, for that entire group to be in the group chat just tearing it up.
It's crazy.
I was in New York. I was in New York in May, and we went to we went to a vet's job. We went down to Marie's Crisis to see her
Oh,
sing. Yep.
oh,
And me, Matthew, Sydney, and
I
Courtney
miss you
all
guys.
met up at the
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah. I saw the
And
pictures. Yeah.
yes. Oh no, did you get
Yeah.
the FOMO?
Well, yeah, I got the FOMO.
We did
Yeah.
too. And then those
Thank
guys all
you.
jumped to do a couple of readings for me while I was there, which was really great.
Right.
Yeah, it was really good.
So proud of you.
And then
So inspired by you. Yeah.
thank you. And then now we share a manager.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. How did I forget
Yes,
that? I forgot, Bo. Okay.
I know.
Well, yeah,
I
of
love Jerry.
course. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's a sweetie. He's a
He's a
sweetheart.
blessing. He's been a
Yeah.
blessing.
And blessing. Good. I'm so happy.
So
Yeah. I don't know
Monet,
how you do what you do. I don't know how you do. We have three kids, right? I don't know how I do what I do, but I have no idea how you do what you do. Wow.
exactly. Well, we just make it work, which is
Yeah.
kind of like the whole thing behind this podcast. And a part of
Yeah.
the huge reason why I wanted you to come on and speak to your experience. And I don't know how you do what you do, and you
Me
make it
neither.
work.
Mm-mm.
You're a mother, a really dedicated mother, and a huge professional. And every time I turn my TV on, you're on a new show or
Mm.
a new
From your
nationwide
mouth to
spot.
God's ears. But
Yes,
yes,
let the work come. Let the work
thank you.
come. Um, so let's dive in. Let's talk about
Yeah.
your son and
Mhm.
your journey of motherhood with him.
Ah, okay, come.
Okay,
Let's do it.
great.
Yeah. So what was your
Your baby.
question? I forgot. Oh, he's
I said
12.
your journey.
He's tall as I am. He's
No. Oh
huge.
my God.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your adopt. Let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about your
Okay.
adoption journey.
Sure. I was a foster care mom. So my whole plan, kind of arrogant, but not really, is how I live my life. I think about something and I expect it to manifest. So
Mm-hmm.
the first child that I got, she was mine. She really was mine. I wrote songs for her, and then she was not. So I had three children, three girls, which is what I thought I wanted, which is what I said I wanted. And I got them all straight from birth, which they told me was impossible. They said you're gonna have to, expand your age range, And I'm like, I'll expand it to 3 years old, but I want newborns. And that's exactly what I
Yeah.
got. So, well, that doesn't happen. Well, that's exactly what I got. So I was kind of used to getting what I intended for. And they all went back to extended family, not to their
Mm.
parents, but to extended family. And that's ideally what you want. You want family reunification. So who am I to, say, I want that for them if that's the best thing for them. I had 2 nervous breakdowns. Um, and so when Sainanda came along, my son, at that point, I just thought, well, maybe that's not for me. Maybe motherhood. There it goes. It's quiet again. It's not for me. Maybe my role is to give these children an excellent beginning so that they can go and thrive. Whether they remember it or not, maybe that's my role in life. I do it well. I mother well. So when Sainanda came along, his name was Devon. I kind of given up, the idea of being a mom. Mom. And I remember my Uncle Ronnie's like, no, he's going to stay. And my other girlfriends were, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I've surrendered. And the thing is, it's really something to learn how to love unconditionally and knowing that they might get taken. So most people, you try to protect yourself. It makes sense, especially with 2 nervous breakdowns. They looked very different, but so you try to protect yourself. I'm like, but I can't do that. I can't love like a little bit. I can't do that. It doesn't work I don't know how to do that. So once I figured that out, I'm like, okay, so then I'm here for their foundations. And I was a doula, prenatal doula. And I'm like, well, that's the closest I'm going to get to, being a mom. That's cool. I had 8 births before I retired. So he comes day 1, day 2, and he stays. And he is the love of my life. He's edible even at 12,
Yeah.
He's probably always going to be edible. Poor thing. I mean, he's going to be like 40 years old. And I'm going to be trying to eat his butt or something. That's a little gross. But, trying to nip him. You got 3 of them.
I do. And even when I don't like them.
Yes. Oh, God.
Even when I don't like them, I watch them sleep. There's something about watching them eat. I'm just like, oh, they're healthy. They're being nourished.
Good for you.
Even when I don't like them, I'm planning their next birthday party.
Yeah. Good for you, Mom.
That's really how all of the podcast and the brand Good Mom came to be. I was driving back from I just jumped in the car with them and I took them on a vacation for the summer. And I was like, I'm a good mom. And I beat myself up, as we all do, about losing my temper or not being patient or not giving in this moment. And I was just like, I need to stop being so hard on myself because I've been doing that. I've been a mom now for 10 years. Wow. I've been doing that, and me raking myself over the coals, what is that doing for me or for them?
Good for you.
Yeah. It's not perfect.
No, I've been in therapy for forever, and I just look at it as coaching because the life that I've had, and I just need that check-in weekly. And one of them, and I go to a place that there are students and they graduate and more students come. So one of the many therapists that I've had, she's like, I believe in good enough parenting, right? So, are you good enough? And the truth is, of course, I'm good enough. My commitment is above average. Above average, I don't know. I don't compare myself to anyone, but I know that I'm good. It took me a while to get there too. Because we're human. And I don't like him. I didn't like him this morning. I didn't like him yesterday morning. Yes. And what I love about children is they're in the moment. God, did they teach you if you learn to listen, to be in the moment. So I cannot like him, and a minute later, actually in the moment sometimes now, I can step back and say, oh, wow. I see where that's coming from. His behavior is coming from. I see what's being triggered in me. Thank you for being my teacher. He's my biggest teacher. And, it's like, I get to practice every day with you. Thank you. And I thank him every day for letting me be his mom. So, he knows that. I mean, even if I had birthed him, I think I would do that. Even if he came through my body, I think I would be thanking him every day for letting me be his mom. But especially since I'm his adopted mom, although, it's a mom, I really, really thank him for coming to me. I saw him before he was born, so it was really cool. And I don't know if you know that part of me or not, but that's really who I am. So I was like, who is this kid on my shoulder? I called my sister. I was in the middle of a service at Agape. Do you know Agape? It's a spiritual center. Anyway, it was I was in a
I
church
don't.
service.
I love
It's all
this.
good. It's all good. I was in a church service, and I was sitting in the congregation, and I think we were either in prayer or meditation or something. I don't know. My eyes were closed, and all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, who's that? Who around me is pregnant? Because I'm a baby whisperer, right? I can feel it. And I couldn't figure it out. And I called my sister, who has 4 kids. I'm putting these on so I can see your expressions, but they're also uncomfortable. So I might go back and forth. And so I called my sister. I'm like, are you pregnant? Because she's like, oh, God, please. Every time I'm pregnant, I hope I'm not. She had 4 kids already. I'm like, no, I'm not sure it's yours. I just don't know whose it is. And he was this ball of light. So I thought he was white, right? Because sometimes spirit, it's not never confined. And so you don't know how to read it. It's not literal most of the time. But he was so bright. He looked not my complexion. And he wasn't when he came. But I was like, it's not my kid. But I remember saying, thank you for letting me be your mom. I'm like, that's weird. And then when he came, it was right after that he came. I'm like,
it was you.
It was you, my love. It was you. And he's Latina and African, Caribbean mixed. And now he's more my complexion, but yeah.
Right. Well, the light could have been many. The light was the light.
Exactly. It was the light. The light's the light. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that part. Okay, so you see things, feel things, take things in.
I'm an empath. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Children are empaths. We're born that way. We just usually close it down at some point. A lot of actors are. I mean, people creative. I mean, you channel, whether you know that or not, as a writer, right? So
I definitely channel. When I was a kid, I saw things all the time. Good things and bad things. I saw things in my grandparents' house. I knew things I wasn't supposed to know, and my family would be like, how do you know that?
Yep.
And I shut it down on purpose because it scared me. Yeah, so I used to see things as well, and I stopped it because it was scary, and my mother still does very much, and I think the last time I allowed it in was writing in the upper room.
Oh wow! I bet.
Specific experience.
I bet.
Very specific. Very. I mean, I call it haunted. I don't know what other word to call it, but it was haunted. I was, they were there with me visiting.
Yeah, girl. Wow. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, you froze. I hope you're there. There you are.
I'm here.
Okay.
You see me?
Yeah, you just froze for a second.
Okay, they don't want us to talk about this. But they're coming after us. But I think it is okay. So I think it is. And I've mentioned that in interviews and stuff before, like my ancestors being in the room with me when that show was written. But it was so real. It was all encompassing all throughout the house. Even my husband at the time, he was like, something weird is happening in the house. And I was like, oh, you can feel that. That's just grandmother and my uncle.
Yeah, it's good for you, Bobo.
But that show is also the one that they entered the realm on is also the one that's gone the furthest. And so I feel like that's really like connected, right? Like this one is really blessed by them and they're part of that full circle journey with it too.
Wow. I love talking about those. I had no idea. So I'm really grateful. Yeah.
What else, like, what other experiences or like, what does that feel like for you that you can share?
What does what feel like for me?
Like when you're connected, when you're tuned in and and you hear and you see people, like, what is that?
Well, the way that I describe it, whenever somebody, hold on. Yeah, that's so weird. As soon as I do that, then it goes away. Is, you're walking down the street You turn around all of a sudden and you see somebody avert their gaze, right?
Yeah.
You know they were looking at you, right? You
Yeah.
ever see that before? Feel that
Yeah.
before? It's like, and then their tone goes like, oh, you're right. You can feel that. You're on the phone, or the phone rings and you were just thinking about somebody. It's really, really
Yeah.
pervasive. It's everywhere all the time. We just shut it down. We compartmentalize it. We make believe it's something else. It's so simple, and we make it more complicated than it is. So for me, growing up, not having a language for it, when I was a child, I remember crying, thinking, I'm in the wrong body. I don't know how I got in this body. I remember I didn't watch science fiction. I didn't watch TV, so I don't know where I got that thought from.
Right.
I knew things I wasn't supposed to know. I knew who I was, but because of other things that happened in my life, childhood, molestation, blah, 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 my self-esteem got kind of warped. And so I remember the first time that I really kind of graduated into more of an understanding of who I was. I had a dream about a friend that I was comforting him about his grandfather. And I just told him, oh, Rick, I had a dream about your grandfather. I don't know what that was. And you were crying. And he's like, oh, okay. And he called me back the next day, says, oh, Monnae, my grandfather was bleeding internally. And it freaked me the fuck out. It's like, okay, never mind. I don't want to know. Right.
Right.
One time I was sitting in the bathtub in my old apartment house in the Bronx. There were holes in the wall, old place. I had some incense burning, and I was studying with the teacher at the time. Some incense burning, and something said, I was in the bathtub, and something said, you can make that light go out. I'm like, what is that? I don't want to make the light go out. You can make that light go out. I'm like, okay. I looked at it and it went out, and I freaked out, butt naked through the entire top floor. I had roommates at the time, 2 men. I didn't care. And I went into my room and like, I called my teacher, Ananda, I made an incense light go out. She's like, what are you playing with that for? I'm like, oh, okay. It was just normalized it. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
Right.
So that was in my 20s. That was the more, I always say those stories because they're kind of fun. But as an adult, as an artist, as a woman, as an adult, it's just the appreciation of really who I am. I'm just coming into that now, Beaufield.
Mm-hmm.
Like not doubting anymore. I've doubted my whole life. It's ridiculous that I've doubted my whole life. I've had so much to prove otherwise. So now I'm totally in my power. Totally. I used to give readings and, there's a whole history there and still doubted. Had it proven over and over and over again. And it's the minutia. It's realizing that we, of course, don't begin and end here in the body. It's scientifically proven the body extends beyond the body, the auric field. We don't have to be woo-woo about that. We can feel it. You can shut your eyes, have somebody walk towards you, and you can feel when they enter your space. Yeah. You can just play with that. Your kids you can do that with your kids. And then being around kids, you realize they're wide open, especially from birth. And if you cultivate that and keep that wide open, they have imaginary playmates. They sing songs. They see things. You, right? You're that kid. You're still that kid. You just kept it open. As actors, as creators, we keep it open. So I can go on and on, but you can ask me some specific questions if you want. But that's just, I can talk forever about it.
I love that so much. And I feel, we're going to be talking about this more because I have kind of that's a void in my life of people who are in tune in that way, or at least once we're open with it, who
Right.
will like discuss with me. I always kind of feel like I'm a little bit crazy because I'm like, no, like this really happened and this really happened. And I'm, especially maybe there's some of that Midwest mindset too of like, everybody just kind of has their head down and they work hard and there's really not a lot of time for that woo stuff and I don't want that to feel judgmental toward other people, but it is something that I feel I need to and want to tap into more of. Like, I'm not as scared as I used to be anymore because I do feel every year that I'm older, I'm stepping more and more into my power. Yeah. And because I do have the kids now, right? They help
Yeah.
ground you. They help you figure out
Yeah.
your power. You got
Yes.
to have power with them, or you can get lost
Oh,
inside of
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
I
full-time,
love,
double-time, triple-time job.
oh yeah.
My son, just so that you get an idea, I remember when he was born, he didn't come through my body, so I didn't have breast milk. I was breastfed. Fed. I feel that if you can and are willing to, it's the best thing for a child. So it
Hmm.
was my full-time job. I kid you not. Went up and down the coast. There were about 30 to 40 women that were responsible for giving him breast milk over 3 years. And I went as far
Wow.
as San Francisco and down to San Diego. Amazing women who had a plethora of breast milk. That
That
alone
is
was just,
that speaks to how dedicated of a mom you are.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just something that I felt like I could not do.
Mhm.
You know, I he deserved it. It's the
Mhm.
best thing that I could gather for him, and so I did, and I did it for his sister too. That's another long story. His sister came after that. I couldn't handle both of them because of the social workers and the special needs and blah, 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 blah. But I wouldn't put her back in the system because
Yeah.
that's not what was happening. So I found a babysitter. And it turns out that the babysitter, the daycare center, they ended up adopting her. So we're this it's a very long story, but we're this big rainbow family. But she got breast milk for the 4 months she was with me, you know. All the kids actually. Now you're not supposed to do any of this with foster adoption kids. You're not supposed to co-sleep with them. You're not supposed to do any of that. But I broke all the rules. I'm like, this is a child. I'm safe. I'm doing,
Yeah.
the co-sleepers. I don't
Yeah.
know, on the side of the bed, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
They all got that.
So when you had your daughters, how long did you have them for?
Thankfully, not long. A week is long. The
Yeah.
longest I had one, I think, was 3 months, 4 months. 4 months for me is an eternity. It's
Yeah.
4 months of 24 hours of no sleep, of figuring out, breastfeeding. At first, I tried to put the little thing near my breast. There's a tube that you can do next to the nipple to make sure. I'm like, okay, that's not working. So how am I, it's like total. I do everything this way. Total full involvement. So I remember exactly where I was when all the phone calls came that they were going back in the city. They're like haunted places for me. They're full of energy. I remember the
Mhm.
corners. I remember the Whole Foods. So 4 months. About 4 months was the longest. Yeah,
Oh, my, that makes me, I can't imagine
it was
because those
hard.
were not just 4 months. It's 4 months of the most important, integral time with a baby.
Yeah,
So,
they were from the
yeah,
hospital to me.
I think that
Mm.
I've always wanted to adopt one day, more so like before I ended up with a house full of kids. And now my partner has 2 kids. So now we have 5 kids.
Oh
And I'm
gosh,
like, the snacks are gone. So I'm like, we're good on the adoption thing.
we're
But
good.
on that, I'm good. I can stepmom and co-mom the whole thing. But I think one of the biggest things in the back of my head was just in foster parenting, how that is always, it's not a guarantee. And so
Yeah,
that's been like, I don't think I could do that. And so for you to give that to them, it's just so beautiful and just so full of strength and grace.
yeah,
And
it was hard.
I would have 2 nervous breakdowns too. Of course you did.
Yeah.
But then you get your beautiful baby boy, your
Oh my
beautiful
God.
light.
Yep.
And so he comes to you and he also has special needs. And so what I know of you as a mother
Mhm.
is um that same dedication that had you driving up and down the 101 or whatever highway. Um
Yep.
bringing that to both your work and your mothering, making sure that he has everything that he needs. He's got his sitters and nannies lined up when you have to
Woo.
work.
Yeah.
And you being able to show up every day, like ready to go on set every day. And
Yeah.
so that is just the super admirable. Can you talk a little bit about his special needs and like what that requires?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
like, I guess like you get a call, you got a job, and now what do you do next?
Oh my God. Well, I just have to say, first of all, that in the upper room, burst my hymen. Like it was just like, it was such, I don't even know how, it's very graphic. Sorry. It
Love it.
was the trial by fucking fire. Can I curse on here? I'm sorry. It
Yes,
was
yes, just me.
so monumental. Seriously. So for anyone who doesn't know, we were doing Denver Center Theater. It was a 3-month gig. I came there not having any family, no connections really, except end up being a girlfriend from high school, I found out. But I had no structure in place for sure. And I said yes to this job. And I found caregivers, and it would be like Beaufield, I'm not kidding you. Um, Curtains at 8, half hour 7:30. I get to the theater at 7, 6:45. I get a call. I can't show up today. I don't have. I can't make it to the theater. I mean, I can't make it to your house. I'm like, and things would happen so much. I got COVID. My whole house has COVID. Can you find somebody else for later today? It was the most strength building and fiercely faith building experience in my entire life
Mm.
daily. And I'm so grateful for that. And on the flip side, I got to laugh. I've never laughed so much in my life all the time. Like every day.
Yeah.
You weren't in the dressing rooms all the time, but it was just like the best people. And it was healing for me. It was the beginning of my re-entry into the business. I don't know if you know that. I'd taken time out for about 10 years. So it was the
Wow.
first, and my manager, my Jerry, was like, "This would be good for you. You need to get back. You get your mojo going." I'm like, and I love the audition scene. I mean, it just had me cracking up. I'm like, I feel this. I feel this, and I'm like, how am I going, Jerry? Why are you giving me an audition for Denver? I have a kid in school. What am I going to do? It was perfect. So what that looked like was creating a network. Now I create family wherever I go. I'm strong at that. I do that. That's what I've always done. It's important to me. It's probably some slavery thing, where we got separated. I don't know. Very, very
Yes,
important to me.
yes.
My goddaughter lives across the street from me. She wasn't my goddaughter at the beginning. Everyone know all my neighbors. So that's me. So I had to create that kind of support. Um, and I had to pray a lot. And I remember I was sitting in the hotel and I was just saying, I can't control this. I can't.
Right.
Full surrender. You know what I need. You know when I need it. Fat
Yes.
lady saying. It was so deep because it would happen like that. What am I going to do? Half hour is in 45 minutes. I remember calling whoever the stage manager was at the time, like, I think I'm going to have to put him in the green room. Can I
Kristen.
do that?
Yeah.
Kristen. Oh,
Right.
yes, Kristen. I never had to do that. Maybe once. I think then the babysitter picked him up, maybe. But it was a trial by fire. But it lit me up. The play lit me up. The experience lit me up. I feel like I had a birth. I feel like I could do anything because I did that play
It,
and the way that it shaped. I'll never forget
it,
that time in my life. I know you don't know all the ins and outs, but it was life changing for me because of that, because of the play actually, but also because of the enormous hardship that it was to make that work.
well, you're jumping back in. You're leaving California for Denver after 10 years of taking a break. You're broaching this as a single mother in a place where you don't have community
And support.
yet.
I know.
Right. And every night you're on. Every night.
Yep. Yep. Every
Yeah.
night. It was a
Um,
miracle. It
you
was,
inspire me. That is
heard
beautiful.
me. It,
That is so beautiful.
it was pre-COVID, after COVID or pre-COVID. What was it? It was sometime around that time so that we figured out with his schooling that he could have long distance schooling with his school. So
It
he
was
was on
it was post COVID. It was
post-COVID.
22. Yeah,
Yeah.
February 22.
So they allowed
Yeah.
him to do that. And his babysitters would help him with schooling. And the theater was wonderful. They gave us 2 rooms adjoining so that he could have his
Yeah.
space. We got to know the thrift stores so he can get toys, just kind of things that would coax how old was he? 7-year old? How many years ago was this? 8-year-old,
So
9-year-old.
he was 9.
Oh wow, yeah.
He was 9 because Shine was 7, and I remember telling you I've
Wow.
got a 7-year-old in the locked in the room too. If you need anything,
I know he's
they're
alone. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's
So his
just like
special needs.
really
Yeah, yeah. I didn't answer
yeah.
your question, but he has ADHD and autism and some sensory seeking behaviors, and we believe fetal alcohol syndrome disorder,
Mhm.
which basically means you know the stuff and then it gets lost in there, and then you know it again and then it gets lost.
Yeah. But he's
Mm.
thriving. How is he
He is
doing?
thriving. He is
Yeah.
thriving because I'm incessant, and we have a new program where the money that usually comes through regional center, which is people move here for that. I didn't know that. The support that the children get, it now comes to me, not in my pocket, but through financial management system. So I get to determine what therapies he has. So he's now
Mm-hmm.
in neurofeedback. He's now in a learning center that da 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 da. It's amazing. It's like night and day. So he's thriving. I have a nanny now because I get to
Yes.
support myself through him. I have help.
Yes.
I'm very blessed. Very blessed. I'm ready for whatever's next because now I have the support. So like he was on the set of 42. I played his mother on so gosh.
On 42 was 42. It was the oh no,
Goodness gracious,
that's
this is
24.
my age. No,
I know.
42, the movie about Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. Oh,
My heart.
Black
Gosh.
Panther.
Yes, Coleman. Gosh, what is that?
No,
Don't show this part. I
I'm
can't remember my son's name.
I'm
Um,
gonna cut out
oh, he was just
Chadwick.
starting at the time. Chadwick. Thank you, Bozeman.
Yes.
Um, he was just starting at the time. He was so gracious, so sweet. And my mom flew down and watched him, my son, while we were shooting. He's been on different sets, at different times when he was a baby, an infant. But
Do your thing again. Yeah, there you go.
I did it. Yeah, thank you. But being on your show was the biggest, breakthrough.
So speaking of 42 and some of the other work you've done, let's talk about like what you just wrapped or what's out right now and what you have coming up.
But what I have coming up, I'm really excited about because it has to do with kids. And it's the first thing that I've ever done that has to do with kids. And it's such a beautiful story. And it was filmed in Nebraska, I think. Yeah, remember when I was shooting? Yes.
You were
Yeah,
downtown.
Nebraska. Yeah, I was downtown at a hotel downtown. This was my year of working nonstop. It was like a year. It was like blew my mind. I had booking after booking after booking. This one's called Going for Two. And it's basically about two balls, like when they drop with the kid, like going, like being, coming into your childhood, your manhood or whatever, being brave and courageous. But I get to play a nun, a teacher.
I
And the
saw
set
you
was
in the month.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's been a while, but someone just texted me. One of the PAs says, "Oh, you crashed, you rocked that scene." I'm like, "What scene?" Well, you were in the classroom. I'm like, "Oh, you're still working on it because you never know whether the project's gonna die or whatever." So I'm so excited for that because my son can actually see that, like
Yeah.
one of the things that I've done. So that's called Going for Two. I have no idea when it's gonna come out, but I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know. A Vince Staples show was just that. I mean, I haven't worked in about a year and a half or two, but I had a whole bunch of stuff before then. So
You did. Were you so is that the effect of the strike? And like I'm hearing so much about basically work right now just drying up for
yeah,
everyone.
I would say yes, yes, the effect of the strike, and no. I mean, I don't really know except that I know that I'm entering a new level, which I'm very clear that I have. So I'm in competition with all these stars that it's like finding my new footing. I've kind of graduated and age, but there's a lot that I've been auditioning for. So it's not like there's not roles out there, but
Right,
it's like one
right.
of the things that I just auditioned for and knocked it out the ballpark. I think, going with a star. I get it. She has a track record that
Yeah.
I don't have. So, you know, that year was Vince Staples. It was, oh gosh, I'm really bad at this kind of stuff. I worked a lot for a while in a very condensed amount
You
of
did
time.
you everything. I know
Everything, this is weird. Yeah.
you had a Netflix show, and I was like, wait
Yeah,
a
I have a
second,
bunch of them.
wait,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm feeling
That's,
that right now that I'm up against. It's Jerry's project, and I'm up against like a big name writer. It's her and me. And he's like, but you're not going to cost $1 million. And I'm like, well, Jerry, you could. I mean,
yeah, you can. I can
like,
close. Is that the one with the big star in it? The MS person? Not MS, the
yes,
disease, but okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yes, yes. And so I'm like, okay, but she doesn't need the job. Like that's the other. Like
Hello.
she didn't. Can she take one for the team? Uh, please. I'm looking at IMDb. You did the drop. You did the
Oh,
defenders.
the drop was so much fun.
The
Yeah,
drop. Yes. Flight 93.
that was a while ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
2011. Yeah. I mean,
Wait,
that was my first little. I was a bank teller or a carpet manager, store manager. It was my first thing on camera, I think. Like
that's one of my favorite movies of
moving.
all time. Watched that
Oh,
movie 75,000 times.
I have dreadlocks at the time, so I look totally different. So I have locks. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna find you. National Treasure.
Yeah. That was part of the year of living
Oh, that's
dangerously.
so fun.
Yeah.
McBride. You were working with John. Oh, what's his name from Night Court?
Yep. Not Lithgow. John. It was funny. I'm
I
horrible
know.
at this stuff. Once I do it, I just leave it alone.
Me
But
too.
you're
You
there.
and me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gonna be a
Well,
horrible interview.
I love every time I catch you on something new, I'm like, that's Monet. Oh my God. And we were watching some Apple show. And I was like, there you are. Uh yeah. Well, I'm excited. I would love to just I'm gonna now that I know that you're in the spiritual realm, I'm gonna send you stuff like I four
Hello.
four 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 just like 11
Yeah, I get those
11.
all day long. All day long.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just
So
being open to it.
one thing that before we wrap up, I just want to, if you don't do it now, I would love you to do an episode about Black women and their hair when they have to work and getting it together. Because that was a big, that's why I stopped. That's why I dropped out of the industry. I was starting to lose my hair from stress. It was, and I couldn't get it together. Like you have an audition in an hour and a half. I have babies, I have dogs, and we're like, I can't do it. So it was a big thing for me. Once I discovered wigs, it just set me back into the industry because I could do whatever I needed to do. It's so important. So I just wanted to kind of put that in there because it was big for me.
Let's do that because okay, this morning I wanted to get a before picture and an after picture of the photo shoot. Because this morning I had to drop the kids and I got back here and I was like, all I can do right now is my hair. And it's going to take me an hour and a half
Yeah. Yeah.
because it wasn't even just his regular self. It was like it was alive. It was just like I didn't have time to like wash it. I didn't have time to define it. I was like, I just have to straighten it to be presentable. And that's all. And
Got it.
that's we're gonna do
Yeah,
that
that's the
episode.
real deal. Yeah.
That's the real deal. I adore
Yeah.
you. I love you.
Just
Thank
same
you
here.
so much for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
And
Brilliant seeing you. Yes. You
thank
amaze me. I'm inspired by you from afar. You have a big fan here. Seriously,
well,
for
I feel the
life.
same way, my lady. I feel the exact
Okay.
same way.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, and every time I see you, I'm like, oh,
Thank
she's
you.
doing it. She's doing it.
That means a
Well,
lot to me, sweetheart.
I don't know when we're gonna air this, but I'll keep you updated. And I better see you sooner than later.
Well,
If I
in
come to the West,
Nebraska, hey, we'll see.
we'll see out here. Come giddy up. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Oh, I
It
love
was
it.
so funny. Yes. And I told Matthew called me when he started doing that, when he started working for United.
Yeah.
And he was like, Beaufield, he goes, should I go to Amsterdam for 24 hours or should I come to Omaha? And I was like, come to Omaha.
I love
Hey,
it.
I've been there for 45 minutes and I was like, I got to go to a volleyball game.
He he came to Omaha to see you. Oh,
And then I gave him some, and I did just like Matthew. I'm so sorry.
you're a mom.
I
That's
was like,
that's
yes,
that's.
I want to get to this game. I love. Do you want to come to the game with me? He was like, no. He's like, no, bitch, I'm good.
That's Matthew.
I
Oh, all
was
my
like, he
love to
gave up.
you.
Oh my
Huh?
god, he gave up
Yeah, yeah.
Amsterdam for me.
I know. Well, see, that's what you're worth. You're worth giving up Amsterdam. He just had to see you. Yeah.
Oh, I love
You changed
that.
all of our lives, I think. I mean, the fact that you said yes to that, what came through you, and the brilliance of it. And I have not told you this. I was sitting on the stage during one of the rehearsals, sitting on the stage looking out to the audience. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm on Broadway. And I kept looking. I'm like, this play is going to Broadway. Okay. I didn't say anything. I'm just saying, I felt that so strongly because I was like, where am I? I was like, I was in a Broadway house. So I would not put it past anything that will happen. Now, I might not be in it because that happened with me with the August Wilson play. And it did go to
Oh,
Broadway. And I didn't realize that the part wasn't written for me. It was written for our divine priestess. Right. But
right.
I felt it. I could see it. And I was, and when I went to Broadway, I saw some of my my movements. I saw some of the things that I added to the piece. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah. But I know this piece. I know. It's like, that's my thing there. Okay, good, good. But I know your piece is so important, Beaufield, and brilliantly written. And yes, I'm hearing, yeah, you have very strong ancestors. You were very obedient. They're very grateful to you for that. And I am, because I got to benefit. So I'll just
I
leave it there.
received. I receive it. I have a new team. I hope they're working on it. I know they're working on it. I
Yeah,
hope.
I think so. I hope so too.
Get me out of Nebraska. Y'all love my lady. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you.
stay on for just a second until this uploads 100%, so I don't
Okay.
miss any.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it. See, isn't this cool? Because it's like you don't have to download
Yeah.
anything, and it all is gonna just fix itself.
I don't even know what this is called. Riverside. Riverside.